Hello everyone, this is a video that will show you how to make a bar plot using R. So as you can see, I have RStudio already open in front of me, but there's no data open and there are no scripts open. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the barplot script. Now I've already downloaded it from Google Classroom, so if you have not done that step, you're going to need to do that. But I am going to navigate my computer through all my folders to where I saved it. Yes, I am a neat freak. That's just how I am. It's how I maintain sanity in my life. So this is what it should look like when it opens up. If you scroll to the top, you should have this cute little header that says barplots for SS330. And this is step one. We've got the script open, and now we're going to open up the data. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can go to import dataset from Excel, or you can run lines 10, 11 and download a package called readxl and then open up the file by searching for it on your desktop. Two ways, both of them work. I am going to use this process here where I import dataset from Excel, and it will give me the option to browse, and I'm going to look on my computer to where I have saved the data. We are going to be using the Blackburn Quality of Life Survey data. This is also available to you on Classroom, and it'll take a second. It's kind of a big data set. The max rows I think is 873. Even if there's an extra one, it's fine. It'll be okay. But once it opens, you'll see that there's not a lot of numbers. It's mostly text. That's important for making bar plots. So, got our data set up here. I'm going to go ahead and click Import. And I know that it worked because I see this in the data window, BC Quality of Life, Student Survey Collapsed, and it gives you a snapshot of the data right here. Now you can see it only shows 1 through 50 of the columns, but there's more than 50, so if I hit this little arrow, it will bump it over. Now it's showing me columns 24 through 73, and that's all of it. I'm going to go back to the barplot script, and we have gotten through this process here. So now what I need to do is I want to convert this data, which is saved as a table, that TBL_DF down here, that is telling me that this is saved as a table, and I need it to be a data frame. So what I want to do is run this line, but it's not ready yet. This right here, this BC, needs to match this name here, because we're converting this into a data frame, and I'm going to save it as a new file called BC. So I'm going to just backspace here, delete BC, and start typing BC underscore. Oh, look at that. Well, thank you very much. So this is an autofill option. So if I hit tab, it puts the rest of that in there, saves me some typing. Thank you very much, RStudio. It's so friendly. Lovely to work with you here. So I'm going to highlight line 15 and click Run. And you can see this is where the action happened, and then now we have another data up here called BC, and still the same number of observations, same number of variables, but this is a data frame. Super important. Not going to tell you why, just you need to know it's important. Next step is to install the package we're going to use to plot, and that is a package called ggplot. So I'm going to highlight lines 19 and 20. And click Run. Now if it's the first time you've ever downloaded ggplot, it might take a little bit. You can see I'm going to get blasted with some red text. I'm going to get a blinking stop sign up here. These are all indications that the program is working. It needs a second. It's not ready yet for the next thing. You'll know that it's ready when you get this blue caret down here, and you can see it's run the install and the library, and then ggplot in parentheses. So what's happened is that we have downloaded a file from the interwebs, and then the library function opens up that file, that package, so that we can now use it to do our plot. Okay, so the variable that I want to play with is the luck variable. So this is a question that's asked to students. Do you think that, what is it? It's something about is it luck, or can you actually do anything about it? It's the one that's in the class notes that I use as the example for the bar plot. But the questions along the lines of, what people get out of life is largely due to luck and not their own abilities. And students have the option, they can either agree, disagree, they're neutral, or they didn't answer, they skipped it. So let's just see what it looks like. If I run it using the table command, we get this down here at the bottom. There are 106 students who agreed, 568 who disagreed, and 144 who were neutral on this question. So let's see what that looks like. I mean, this isn't very appealing, but let's see what this looks like as a bar plot. So ggplot is where the commands actually start. All of this is the bar plot. In this first line, you have to identify the data set. So BC matches this up here. And then AES is where you would designate what is the variable that you're going to plot. And we're plotting only one variable, which is why it's x equals luck. Later, when we plot two variables, we'll have an x and a y. And then between each section of the command, there's a plus sign. So we're going to plot this, and then we're adding to it. We want it to be shown as bars. That's what this geom bar feature is. We designate the same variable again, and then we're going to get fancy. We're going to color in the outline in black, and we're going to fill in the bars with a shade of green. I chose sea green. I'm going to show you how to change the colors because that's super fun, but not quite yet. Next, we're going to give it a title. So GG title. This will put this statement at the top of our plot. And then the labels. We're going to label the x-axis. And then we're going to label the y-axis. The y-axis is going to give us the frequency. It's the count of who or what is being shown in your data, the unit of analysis. The next thing we're going to do is for line 36, we're going to play with the scale on the y-axis because it will be counting the number of students. The x-axis will be showing us the categories. So we're going to have it start at 0 and go up to 590. Now you might be wondering, how'd you pick that number? I picked this number because of this number here. And I just totally picked it. Like I'm looking for something that I can then divide evenly for tick marks. So the by equals 30 is how often it's going to draw one of those little dashes along the axis. And between 0 and 590, 30 goes into that better than it goes into 568. And I knew it needed to be bigger than 568 so that the axis would extend up to the tallest part of the biggest bar. And so that's what I picked. Like, it was really... This is one of those things where you can play with and adjust however you want. But the thing to know is that the first number is the minimum, the second number is the maximum, how high up you want the bar to go, and then by equals is how often, how many values, and then it will draw a tick mark, and then it counts up that number again, draws another tick mark. And then I'm going to set the theme. I'm going to use the classic theme, and this is one of those things I will show you how you can change to use other themes. There's many, many themes in the ggplot package. So just highlight lines 31 through 37 and click Run. And you should get this guy. I'm going to adjust my windows here. And this window here is a dynamic window. As you resize the window, the plot is redrawn and adjusted. So what you can see here is you've got your 4 categories: agree, disagree, neutral, and those who skipped it. This is the statement the students were asked, and students were given the prompt, do you agree, disagree, or feel neutral about the following statement? And then here's what they were, have to evaluate. And it looks like far and away, most students disagree that what you get out of life is largely luck, which is fabulous. It indicates that people have an external locus of control and feel like, it's an internal locus of control where they feel like they can make a difference in their life, like they can affect their outcomes by how much effort they put in. It's a good thing. So roughly, right around 100 students, it looks like, agreed with it, which, whew, that's right, 106 students agreed with that statement, but 568 disagreed, and 144 were like, I don't know, and hit neutral. So that's it. I hope that plot drew well for you, and that you were able to get this image. There are a couple ways to get this picture out of RStudio in a way that will let you put it into a text document or even upload to social media. You can save these as images and then, fill up your Instagram with the plots you're making in stats class. Like, that's totally cool. People can do that. But there's several options. You can do export and save as an image, copy to clipboard. That will let you like resize the image one more time before you can copy and paste it. But there's this other way too. Line 39 gives you the option to save out this as a PNG file. I use PNG just because it's pretty friendly. It plays with most browsers. It works with Google Docs and with text, but you can change the PNG to JPEG, almost anything here. And I'm just doing a basic 7x8 inch plot at a dots per inch of 300. This is pretty standard, but if you run this, it will save it out as a file. And there's a way to designate where it saves it to. I don't really get too down in the weeds about it. I just search my computer then for this file name, luck, and it usually pulls it right up. What I do want to get down in the weeds about is where in here in the script you would make adjustments. So one of the things you have to do for the barplots lab is you've got to make a plot on your own. So the first thing you would change is the variable name. You need to pick a different variable to do your bar plot with. And you're like, well, I don't know the variables. Well, you can look in the code book that's available on Classroom. You can come up here to the data and look at, just the names of the variables to get a sense of it. And almost any of the variables will work. But you might want to change the colors. Well, that's cool. We can totally change colors. I'm just gonna fire up a browser window here, and I'm gonna search for our ggplot colors, and then click on images. And okay, there's an incredible amount of colors that you can choose from. Let's click on this guy, make it big. So if you wanted to change the color, you would need to swap out the text for the color as it appears in the script with the color that you want to change it to. And it's got to match exactly. Numbers, uppercase, lowercase, spelling, it has to look exactly the same. And so say instead of the sea green, you wanted to use spring green, or you wanted to use steel blue. It's fine. This is where I want you to get creative. And if you don't like this one, you can pick a different image to look at. If you are savvy enough and you don't need the color named, you can put in the color number or the hex code for the color. And as long as you've got it spelled correctly, and it shows up between the quotations, you're good to go. You're going to need to update the label. So, well, for this one, probably not, because students are generally asked the same prompt, but you'll want to double check that. You will definitely need to update the x-axis, which should match the variable label. So if you need the label, you're going to need to get that from the code book. And then you'll need to update the sequence, because your numbers for whatever variable you choose will probably not be bound between 0 and 590. The 590 number will be different. But let's say after all that, you're like, I don't know, I don't really like the classic theme, I'm not feeling it, I want to use a different theme. Okay, that's cool. Let me show you the themes. Instead of a Google search for colors, let's come back and look for themes. There are many themes, and there are lots of extra people who are like, I'm gonna make my own fancy theme. And as long as you've got the right name for the theme and update that text in the script, you can change the theme to whatever you think is particularly groovy for you. Okay, so when you do your search for themes, the next thing you're going to want to click on is just this first one that comes up, the complete themes for ggplot 2. There are many other themes, and like people get super extra about it, and you can dig into that world if you get really interested in this. Sometimes it means you've got to download and install some additional packages, but the sky's the limit when it comes to themes. But this will give you the ones that come with ggplot. So there's gray, two kinds of gray, the European gray and the American gray. BW is black, white. There's a light, dark, minimal, classic. I don't know what void is. But it gives you some of the like, okay, so this is what's happening when you install this theme. Let's do minimal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my RStudio session and I'm going to change this to minimal, and let's see if that makes a difference, if you can tell. Yeah, so see, that feels a little bit different. Ooh, that orange, that's pretty gross. That was a bad idea. But this gives this background sort of table looking thing that, I don't know, it can be helpful because it shows you exactly where the tops of the bars end. But anyway, you play with this until you're happy with it. And when you have something that you're happy with, you want to save it out, update the name so that you don't overwrite something that you want to save. And then you are good to go. You successfully have made a bar plot. Now, as you have made changes here, you want to probably save this, but it's not the end of the world if you don't save it. But I do highly recommend saving and updating the names for the scripts as you add stuff, take stuff away, and adapt this to your work. So hopefully you were successful and have now made your own bar plots.